you doing? I'm Sammy Robertson. So this assignment that we have to do is to do with leadership and what leadership is and what leadership does and know and right different kinds of people that come with a team and the characteristics of people that come in a team. And then one of the key roles is the leader. And as I read Maxwell's book and like I looked at a couple of his YouTube things also, and then I start looking at the other people that we have textbook we had with and stuff.
In 0.7 miles, keep right onto I-90 East, then take ramp ahead.
Anyway, I'm at work, so I have to work. I wish I had the ability to like lay back and do nothing, but so when it comes to it, a good leader is the key part of a team. So what I've come to understand is that a leader puts the team first. And as I was saying in some of my other papers that I've written for class, is that most of the time people that I've encountered that are
keep
leaders
right onto I-90 East,
really good
then
leaders.
take ramp ahead.
So like they lack training in leadership, and a lot of people say where leaders aren't made, leaders are born. Leaders
Take
aren't
exit
born.
170B on right to I-71 south, then keep right.
So with that said, a lot of people they don't understand that it takes a lot into making a leader. So it has a lot to do. I believe that it starts with your ability to tap into the gifts that God's blessed you with. And when
In 0.3 miles, keep right onto Ohio 176 south.
You know, do your task.
Keep right onto Ohio 176 south.
So one of the things that I've noticed that a lot of people there was people that did really good leadership, and then there was people that didn't have good leadership at all. And I've kind of learned to listen to both of them. And my papa is one of the best ones because I saw him work in different settings. So as he worked in different settings, I saw him, for instance, example, he worked in the church. So in the church, you know, the church is very put together. This thing's not telling me which way to go. But so as he was telling us, as he was working with the different kinds of group, it would be like, you know, he would have these different leadership roles, and with these different leadership roles that he took on, one of the leadership roles that he was the financial basic guru for the church. The church actually paid for him to go to college, and they paid it. He got an entire free ride. He met my grandmother, which was like totally awesome. And as he got that free ride, the church was dependent on him to come back as a leader for basically like their finances, so that they know. To me, I would like with my education in finances, which is very limited, I would just think to myself that you just add a bunch of money together and then you subtract what your bills are or whatever, or you learn to budget, you know, and you just budget your money. But you know, it's more to that, because what the way my grandpa was able to lead them in finances is that the church has grown exponentially. It is like huge. When I was a child, I went to the church. It was a good sized church, and now they've added on to it and on to it. And I see a lot of churches that become stagnated. And not only did the church add, but they actually added things that they needed. Like we had a church office, and it had like the pastor study, and then it had a couple of offices for the my papa had one where they counted the money under locked and door, and then there was a secretary, you know, and there was some other office I can't remember. And but now they have an entire wing of nothing but offices, and that's because they're doing so much. But in the category of leadership, you know, that they're needing someone there. They had to hire a full staff to pretty much do all the logistics of the church, you know. So, you know, so watching him, then I would watch him go to he would work in politics. So, like, I watch him and he's in the full leadership role. His job, at one particular, last time I saw him working, was he was working the polls and he was in charge of the entire polls. I mean, to me, that's like a big thing. But, I mean, one of the things I noticed was when he was doing the leadership, everyone there was relaxed. When I walked in the door, not only there was different kinds of people under him, it was just not one race of people. So, I mean, he was able to work seamlessly and everybody was relaxed, but yet the job was getting done. Even my sister was on his team. And, you know, my grandpa is very militant as far as leadership goes in our family. He's very, very militant. However, when he's doing a professional, he's not as militant. He kind of pushes that military out, and he's more this go-to if you have any problems kind of guy, and he'll correct you, but he'll do so tactfully and tastefully. So, like, I've seen him switch those gears, you know, and then, of course, when he's not doing that, he would be working, like, as far as being the capacity of, I would have to say, like, meeting new people and going to different kinds of meetings and a meet and greet, basically. And he has to, like, basically bring them in his umbrella, under his umbrella, or he has to be brought under their umbrella, but he's representing a company, or he's representing basically, at the time when I was there, he was representing Ann Richards. So he would go to all these different places, and he would represent her doing different things. And as I saw these roles that he took on, I kind of saw the way he did leadership. Luckily, when I went to the fire service, I saw that, you know, it was basically like, I kind of could, since I've watched him do it, and I watched my father, and then martial arts, I saw how the masters ran their schools. So when I kind of noticed, I kind of used what they did, and I was able to be a leader, but not as good as a leader if I would have had this formal training, you know, of leadership. And I've learned so much, especially with Maxwell, because I really learned a lot from both, but really Maxwell, I don't know why I relate to him more. I don't know, because I guess what he says makes a lot of sense. The other guy, I mean, he's awesome too, but I mean, Maxwell sticks to my mind because I kind of feel like he's real, you know. And the other guy, his is real too. Like, I can take, like today, like I got reprimanded because I didn't, basically I got hurt at work, and then, no, I got to work at my other job because I'm a performer. Basically my own job, and I twisted my ankle, so I couldn't go to my primary job. So I ended up calling my boss, and I was like, "Hey, I hurt my ankle." He's like, "Just let me know when you can work." He's kind of like, I can tell by his text. We've been communicating by text, and and it kind of reverted me back to what the writer was writing in the book about. You know, the lady, she's there before she's basically fixing the company, and she's basically undoing things, and people have their quirks and they have their negativity, and like she wants to be like she has to settle down her motherly instincts. So basically what ends up happening is, it's like I kind of felt like singled out, because I mean, I contacted him, told him I was hurt. He tells me, "Just let me know when you work," which I'm like, why is he upset? But I'm like, you know, at the same time, I'm like, this is my boss. I'm part of a team, and the teams is just awesome, because I learned so much from the teams, but I digress from my point. But anyway, I kind of felt like I was being attacked. But then I remember how my training was in the classes that we're taking now, and as it said, she kind of like would push her emotions aside. And I basically just texted him, "Is there anything?" I said, "Sure thing." Basically, after he texted me, and I'm sorry, I kind of like jumped around, but this is basically what I'm saying. Basically, I texted him, let him know I was hurt. He said in the text, "Just let me know when you can work." All right, I took that as okay. I go to the doctor, I contact Aflac. Aflac tells me I need to go to the doctor or whatever, so I go to the doctor, tell me what paperwork I need to submit the paperwork. Then when it's time to go back to work, I contact him just like before, and I said, hey, look, I'm ready to go to work. He says, well, we gotta have a small talk first. And I kind of felt like, like, what did I do? Like, dude, like, I did what I was supposed to do. What more do you want from me? So what ended up happening is, what ended up happening was he got kind of upset with me, and because I didn't call him to tell him what the doctor said. I automatically assume I tell him that, hey, look, I hurt my ankle. Is there any way, what do you want? And he basically tells me, contact me when you can. I mean, when you can work again. So I'm like, okay, I'll contact you when I work again. So when I contact him, he's upset because I haven't called him. And he says, well, you almost lost your job because you didn't call. Our policy is that you call. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, perhaps you should tell me that when my training before I start working, and then tell me, hey, look, you need to make sure you contact us by phone specifically. So I didn't think nothing of it, but I just wanted to, I kind of felt like, I was singled out, or I was being, belittled or whatever. So I thought to myself, that I should just apply what I've learned in the book. So I went in without emotion, and I showed up to work, and like he asked me to. And once I got there, he was like, first he was kind of real abrasive like he was before, because the last time before I started taking this class, or basically I was taking the class, but I hadn't read the material yet. And he was really abrasive, and I was more like, I guess, counter abrasive too, like, like, this is the reason why I'm the same tone of voice with the same, like, attitude that he reflected to me. And then later on, he's like, and he literally got upset. I wasn't really upset, but like, he really got upset. And so I'm like, I was like, well, I shouldn't probably make my boss upset. So I prayed about it or whatever, and I thought about him as a leader and how that goes to our job. I'm like, well, how's him as leadership goes? And that showed me how he should be as leadership. And then also, when the teamwork came to effect, is how to work in teams, how I'm supposed to act into that sequence of tools that are given to me. So basically, he ended up telling me, he says, well, I'm glad you came in today. And he goes, I don't have a problem with you healing up. I just wish you would have called me before. And I was going to just fire back and be like, well, dude, you already know I was sick, basically from the drop. I already explained to you. He goes, well, I'm not a mind reader. I didn't tell him this, but I guess he read my face. And he says, well, you should have. He says, well, I'm not a mind reader, but I don't know if you just decided to take the 2 days off. To me, it's 3 days, but they count it as 2. I don't know how that works. That's like work math. But basically, it comes down to the point to where I used the skills that were given to me. I did not use my attitude or my emotions. I went in like, I believe that a team member should be coachable. And I believe as I'm coachable, as I step up to the plate and I'm supposed to be when I'm supposed to be, it reminds him who he's supposed to be as a leader. And this is coming from somebody, refer to myself, that started a company from the ground up. Not as far as the finances. The finances were already in place, but I was able to come in on a job, and I just put everything together. I literally built it from the ground up. I had to hire the personnel. Before that, I was the one in the snow, pulling in the products, staging the products in a warehouse, getting it ready to be put in the store. Once the store was ready, I went into the store, stripped the floors down, buffed the floors, made them shiny, set up the shelves. Then I was the one who set the product up on the shelves, as well as my boss started hiring people to stock the shelves, because he had an idea how he wanted it. And once he told me how he wanted it, I started telling individuals what they needed to do. Now, once that was done, it was all my puppy. Like, I trained them how to run the cash register. I trained them how to do reports on the computer. I literally programmed the cash registers. So I mean, and then after that, I got to hire my team, and luckily the only thing I had was my firefighter training, and it was a learning curve for me. I wish I would have had this class before because it was a learning curve, because I was always taught to do things in a military way or in a church life way, in church leadership, not really in a format as far as like a retail management type situation. That I have never done, but I've done retail by myself, to where I just run the store by myself, so that I was able to do, so I could use those skills. But if I've had the skills right here and learned like exactly more about what a team's supposed to do, and I've worked in the medical field, so I work with doctors and nurses, and then I went to paramedic school, so I know it's like to have someone working under you as an EMT and you directing them. But on the scale of this, having that store and then having all those people, I was a schedule person. I had to make the schedule, had to make sure people that could not come, find a replacement for the people that could not come. So to me, the leadership was more, and one of the things I did do that I congratulate myself, because I know I did make mistakes, but one of the things I didn't make a mistake on was I always put the company first, to the point where I would come in even if I was not going to get paid. So even if I wasn't going to get paid, I still would show up there and make sure the stores ran smoothly. Then once it's smoothly, I could relax, and then I can go home and go to sleep and then come in for my shift. But I did my best to train everyone up. Like the other part of leadership that I liked is, and then this is one of the leadership that I learned in one of my seminary classes for another college that was teaching us, and it was talking about team building also. And it's hilarious that they don't, like, that both of them don't coincide. Like that, the ones I learned with them doesn't coincide with the one that I'm taking in this course. But I like that because I have so much more information now, and it makes me better as a leader. So basically, what ended up happening in the other ones is that you're supposed to train people to replace you, and basically that way, if something happens to you, or the persons know how to basically do certain parts of your roles, they can then be trained up as a management and move to another one. And I did that. And one of the young ladies that I trained, she's like, she's running the store right now. So that was like awesome to know that, like, she's like the manager. She's basically doing my job for that store, because I had moved on to bigger and better things. So I mean, but it's like awesome that she's able to do that, and I was able to teach her. And the thing about leadership that I liked about what Maxwell says, he says that as a leader, you basically you don't take claim for when the team is doing positive. I mean, you kind of do, but at the same time you don't, because and he also said that when you're working in a team, and you're the leader, when the team fails, you say, look, I made a mistake, I'm sorry. And I think that's what's wrong with the world today. There's a lot of people, they don't admit they're wrong, and that's what I did today. Like when I was being reprimanded, but I don't even believe I did anything wrong. I think it's common sense. If someone calls you and says, I hurt my foot, like I cannot work, like and then they tell you, well, let me know when you work, and you contact them when you can work. Like we should. I don't understand. Like, but then again, I'm like, but at the same time, this is what I did. I learned this from him too. I admitted I was wrong. I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Basically, I admit that I'm wrong. And I've always, when I did that, I guess he thought I was going to be like very abrasive or something and fire back. But I've discovered that it takes too much energy, to be negative. And I think negativity brings negativity, and positivity brings positivity. Because when he told me, and the first thing he asked me is, where you been the last 2 days? I mean, going to send him, where you been the last 2 days? I'm like, oh, I've been at Popeye's Chicken. I've been eating wings and hot sauce, and I've been chasing butterflies, and I've been chasing ducks and teaching them to quack and flap backwards and swim backwards, and I taught a one-legged duck how to do a backflip. I wanted to be like I'm at home healing. Like, so I just basically told him, I didn't want to tell him all that, but I just basically told him, I just been at home. Like to me, it's a rhetorical question, but at the same time, he's looking at me like he's ready to basically whatever I say pounce on me. And basically, I could tell when I said I was at home. Like, in other words, I kind of let him know, like, look, man, I'm not here to like box with words with you. I'm like, I want to be a central part of the team. If you don't see me as a central part of the team, if you don't trust me as a team member, and I've been learning that the trust is very important, then maybe I should be on another team, on another company. I didn't tell him that, but at the same time in my mind, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, if you don't trust me as a person, if you think I'm out training, ducks to fly backwards or something rather than doing my job, then I feel like, that I'm not on the right team. But he didn't make me feel like I was the wrong team. As a leader, he made me feel like I was a part of the team and he was depending on me. And I think that's one of the things that I like about this part of the leadership, is that he was trusting that I will be there. And I'm thinking in the back of his mind, he knew like what was going on with me, because he's on my Facebook page and I post everything on my Facebook page. Like, I'm saying, oh man, what's throbbing, whatever. But I also know he's upset that he has to come to work and I don't. And then he knows I'm a student also, so he knows like I'm posting stuff on there about my different classes that I'm learning about and stuff. And then I'm always asking for time off to do my work and to do my schoolwork, and he doesn't want to do that. He's like, oh, you got the weekend, but at the same time, the weekend doesn't always give you all the time you need. Because at a weekend I still do my other job too. So I mean, I have to, and then at the weekend too, I'm winding down to keep from stress, because the job is very stressful. So with that leadership, it talked about trust. So as I started studying about the trust, and that, like a lot of people, I've learned that I can be very emotionally naked, as one of the gentlemen said. I think it was Maxwell. I can be emotional naked. I could be wrong. I think it was, but anyway, but I can be naked with the team, and as I'm naked, I can be myself. And basically, that's what I was with him. I'm like, I'm not trying to put on a dog and pony show. I'm not trying to put on my armor and show you how powerful and how great and oh man, I'm this. I'm like, this is who I am at my core. And at the same time, at my core, I do have vulnerabilities, and I admit that I do wrong. And I wish he would have admitted that he did wrong, but I think he understood that. But at the same time, I think that he's probably one of the leaders that learned that you never ever, you never let them see you sweat and worry, and he doesn't like to be proven wrong. And then I'm the kind of person, like, if I've learned my lesson, because one of my mentors taught me this, is if someone communicates with you via text or email, you keep those emails, you do not delete them. And so like today when he asked me, well, the last thing I got from you was, I'm ready to come to work. And I said, the last text you gave me was, contact me when you want me to come to work. So, and he's like, then he scrolls to his phone, he looks and he just shrugs, and then now that time he kind of felt kind of dumb, because like I had to drive all the way to our shop, which is 30 minutes away. I think it's 18 miles. 18 flipping miles. Or no, it's not 18. I think I gotta look to see. It's quite a few miles. It's not like a hop skip. It's a hop, skip, and a jump, and a jump and a skip. So he's like, oh, I've had this guy drive all the way out here. But at the same time, as I'm humble, because I think that when you're a team player as well as when you're a leader, you should be humble. Like, I'm a martial artist, and I'm a master level martial artist, and I have people that I've trained and they're under me, and I've learned that since we deal with, I want to say, violence, to deal with violence, I think we should be very humble. The Bible says we should be bold, when we go before the throne of God. But it also says we should not be prideful. So, because he says pride comes before the fall. So I always try to be not, even though the Marine in me makes me like be more like, I guess pride, but like they're like we're bred basically with Pride in Boot Camp, to stand up straight and and all this, and project our voice, and not to slouch, but at the same time I've learned that to be humble is key. And I think that when I am humble as a leader, and when other leaders are humble, because I believe that when I was at my boss this morning, as he saw me being humble, he was like, wait, Sam's not in here to try to start an argument. And I don't know if that's what he wanted, because last time that's what we basically got into, because he was like, why is it that you keep going to Lorain? Because there's a city called Lorain that I absolutely hate, but God's told me I have to work there to do his work. And I hate the city. And and everywhere I go, I see the word Lorain. For instance, I move out of Lorain, I moved to Cleveland, I live on Lorain Road. What the wow? How does that even work? Like everywhere, Lorain keeps popping up. Then of course, when I work, I actually go back to Lorain to work. So and guess what? And I had to explain to him, like, yes, I'm using a company vehicle to go to Lorain, but I have to buy tools. And the tools that I buy are in Lorain, because that's where I used to live, is Lorain. So basically I had to explain to him, like, look, man, I'm like, I have to go to there. If I order stuff online, everything I have comes to Lorain, to my P.O. box. So I have all my stuff sent to my P.O. box, because in my apartment, if I have it sent to my apartment, it may not make it there. Somebody may like it a little bit more than me, and it might be gone. So I send it under lock and key to my lockbox, and then I have people there that watch my stuff like a hawk, and I go and I visit them. When I stop in, I talk with them, and I visit with them, and we like have like a good, wholesome conversation. It's like a guy and a girl. They're not a couple, but we talk. And then there's other people that work there too, so I end up talking to them. And so basically, like, that I can trust them with some things. Like, I bought a lot of things I need for my job. Like, my drill needs a battery, and these are expensive things, like, and essential tools I need for my job. And if I go buy them from Home Depot or something crazy like that, then it's gonna cost me an arm and a leg. And then when I buy my power tools are very expensive. I can get them cheaper from a friend, or I can go to a pawn shop who I've networked and have friends there too, and they can hold tools for me to where I can't do anywhere else, because I haven't built a rapport up with those people. So I'm able to talk to them, and I'm able to get the things cheaper and get things that basically are force multipliers when I'm working. So I was conveying that to him, like, yes, I'm going to this city, and I'm like, by the way, I did tell you that I'm going to the city. And he was kind of upset. He's like, why do you keep going there? I saw you went there 3 days out of the week. And then I was like, my phone was broken. I had to go get a new phone. And so we were like doing this aggressive macho back to back, like, yeah, man, I had to go do this, I had to go do that. And he's like, well, you had to do that, do this. I'm like, yeah, because of this. And then finally he gets upset. He's like, fine, I know what the problem is, because I told him that my GPS was like messed up. I was like, man, it won't update. So when I'm traveling around, it sends me to different areas that I don't want to be in, or it doesn't understand that this is a new bridge. It tells me to turn right, and then I'm going loop to loop to loop. And of course they sit on the GPS, they're like, is this guy like high? Is he driving around like following those ducks that he's mentally supposed to be training or something? So there really are no ducks that I'm training for. But anyway, like they're trying to make mental math of what I'm doing, and of course they're upset because they're like, time is money, money is time, is fuel, and all that. So when they're upset, they don't know me yet because I'm new to the team. And then like later on when they find out, when they actually find out that oh he has tools over there. Oh, that's right, he just started working. He's gonna need all these tools, and drills and drill bits and all these like I don't know, it's kind of like 60 different things that we need to have in order to do our jobs. And and when I look at that, and after I talk to them, I understand, I kind of learned, this is my other problem I have with leadership, is that with people in leadership sometimes is they don't like it when they're proven wrong, or if you don't tell them that you did anything wrong, you just ignore the pink elephant in the room, and it's just a swinging its trunk and flapping its ears, and they're looking at it and you're not, but at the same time, it's like, oh, instead of them saying, you know what, Sam, I made a mistake, they don't want to admit that. They want to be like, I am this, and I've seen it like many times, like, and I think what it is like sometimes they don't have accountability, and because they don't have accountability, they don't have a system that's like QC for them. Like then you have to have QC for QC. So they don't have that. So I think that's one of the problems. And then when they check and balance themselves, they get upset. But I've learned this much in leadership, and I believe that you cannot take a leadership role, as I was saying in one of my papers, that you can't take a leadership role if you're having personal problems and work efficiently. I think you can do a job, but at the same time, you have so many personal trouble. Like one of the YouTube videos, Maxwell. No, it was Maxwell. No, it was Maxwell. It was the other author. I can't remember his name. But anyway, he was talking about how there was a woman and she just had trust issues, and she says she can't trust her husband, so she can't trust anyone in the team, and so basically she was alleviated when she said it. So they ended up getting her out of there according to them. But I think that if that person would have never, she's still broken, she's still torn, and instead of learning to deal with that and how to come up with like a way to fix the problems that she had with her trust with her husband, like then she relates it over, because I'm the kind of person, if someone is mean to their mom, they're probably gonna be even meaner to you, because that's their own mother. Like, so I'm like, if she can't trust her husband, how is she gonna trust you that is not her husband, just her worker, whether you male or female? It's just like, that's a huge thing. The person that you're supposed to be married to, they supposed to be like Dora the Explorer backpack and have her back. But in the case he doesn't have her back, she doesn't trust him, and she just learned to cope and live with him. And I think she takes that baggage with her when she goes to work, and I think that happens so much in the work field. And then in her case it was the trust, but other times it's ego. I've seen so many people have ego problems. Like I remember I had a lieutenant, and the lieutenant was upset that basically he would tell us, he was very abrasive when we did something wrong. He'd be like, no, that's how you do that, rah! You're like, oh man, give that man his coffee. Like, give him a Snickers. He's not himself, his blood sugar's low. But truth being, it's just, that's his leadership style. That's the only style he knows. And then so when we'd be like, oh, so we gotta do this right. So what all of us other firefighters came out was with, we'll go get more education so we won't do it wrong, so we won't get yelled at. But that wasn't the problem. The problem was that we were doing it wrong, but the problem was he didn't like the fact that we were stepping up, because he thought we wouldn't need him anymore. That guy ended up like going to prison because he stole $10,000. So, and I've seen that happen in leadership too, where like the people in leadership, they don't exactly do what they're supposed to do, and what's end up happening is they end up getting in trouble. So that affects the team, because I remember one time I worked for an ambulance company, and we had a contract with the government, and one of the guys, he was misusing the money that he for Medicare and Medicaid in Texas. I don't know what it's like in your state. What ended up happening was the FBI, since it was the government and we was a government entity, they kicked in the doggone door with M16s. I wasn't there. I was like at my other job, so I wasn't there. So like next thing I know is we don't have a job anymore. And then later on they end up opening it back up, but everyone always looked at us like, we were the one that did something wrong. We're like, no, we're EMTs. Like, our job is nothing to do with billing. So leadership fell down on us because everyone thought since that person was dishonest, we were dishonest. And then when we were like, oh, we need to get another job, and we tried to go get another job, people still looked at us as if we were part of the problem. But however, it was, from what I understand, it was the owner himself. So, the owner of the person himself, doing what he was supposed to do. The people behind, But that's the way it is sometimes. And to me, I want to be a good leader so I can win souls to Christ. And at my church, I kind of feel like I'm in that position, but not fully. But I think my pastor's starting to use my gifts more because he's having me talk more. And I've had a lot of bad stuff happen to me before. And some of it is my fault, but others nothing to do with my fault. It's just the fact that I've decided not to live a life that's bad. And people get mad at me because I'm a very humble person. And then, and I'm a very sensitive person too. So they kind of believe that I should like bend and break with my values. And when I don't do that, and a lot of people, they do stuff that's wrong, and then they look at me because I'm not doing it, and then they feel like something's wrong. Like, I can go to a bar and sit there and just socialize, but it's usually when I'm singing, like, because I sing. So I can go to a bar, I can sing and not drink. Like, I'm fine. Like, bartenders, they adore me because they can actually talk to me the whole night, and I'm not going to get so inebriated I get lost, but I can still have fun without having to, be bad and stupid and and so a lot of people look at that and they get upset, especially like when I was in the military. The leadership there would get mad at me because they're like, Sam doesn't go out and party. Like, he stays in his barracks and like, what is this? Like, you don't go to the bars, you don't go do this, you don't do that. And then, some of them opened up to me and they would tell me, they were like, I don't know why. I guess I do know why, but they would tell me things they never told anybody else. Like, I had a staff sergeant one time, he told me, man, I cheated on my wife, I'm so sad about it. And, like, they can be emotionally buried with me. Other ones, I guess they see me functioning, and then I do stuff wrong. Of course I'm doing something wrong, I'm human. And they're like, aha, you finally did something wrong. And I'm like, I'm human, I'm gonna do something wrong. I just don't do it at the same frequency that, like you guys are doing it. I'm not better than you or nothing. I'm just trying to better myself day to day. So I'm not, and a lot of people, I like, they get upset with me because they feel like I'm in competition with them. Like one of my buddies, he's like, I'm not in competition. That's just me trying to better myself, because that's one of the things that we learned in martial arts when I was a child, was to always better yourself. And the Bible backs that up. The Bible says that you should evaluate yourself daily. And the exact verse it uses, you should pick up your cross daily. And every day we should look at ourselves. And that relates back to leadership, because if you are not evaluating yourself as a leader, then if you're not crossing through that threshold of rules, regulations, and ethics, and all them areas, you're not going to be a good leader. You're going to be someone that's, like just going with the wind of your emotion, or driven by ego, So to me, leadership's one of those things. It's like, I think almost anybody can do it when they're properly trained. It just depends on what the leadership they're doing. Like, I think that it takes a special person to lead a team of surgeons, but another person that can't do that can also lead a team of for a lemonade stand. Like, they can lead a team for that. Because basically we learned in fire service, we have something called ICS. It's what's called Incident Command System. An Incident Command System teaches you how to be a leader. It's basically a huge group of guidelines and policies and procedures what you should do in certain instances as you come across them, and then it's a lot of protocols. So, like for instance, on the fire service, the very first person on the scene is in charge of the scene. He is then, or she is called the incident commander. So everyone knows when you converge on a scene, the first person, because they have the first set of eyes to get on the situation, and then that person is the incident commander until they pass it on. Or maybe someone come up higher than them and take it, but usually it's not that case. It's the first person. So the person could be, as we call him, Tailboy Ricky, which is the newest, greenest firefighter there is, and they get on there and they're like, he knows what happened. And as he comes there, he gives a handoff, and then the next person basically up, usually is somebody higher, then they can assess the situation again, and they're now the incident commander. And I found out myself, like, when as a firefighter, I was an incident commander a few times, and there's times I did not want to be incident commander. I wanted to pass it off so bad because it was just the stress of if I fail, then people's house is gonna burn, and probably other people are gonna burn too, or I may lose a firefighter or two. I'm like, that's a lot of stress. I don't know how. But I guess so. I do know, by the grace of God, I got out of that with no gray hair. But that's another thing, you just gotta. In that instance, it's failure. It's not an option. But like, if your job is to deliver babies, I'm pretty sure after the millionth baby or hundredth of thousand baby, you're gonna make a mistake, and it's gonna affect that child for the rest of his life. But at the same time, it's just something you deal with. It's just something in the numbers. And I like that part of the thing tells about failure and how it's okay for someone to fail. And, like, I understand it's probably not blatantly fail. Like, let's say I'm driving this car right now and I just turn the wheel and like crash. Yeah, that's a blatant failure. But I mean, I don't think that. But if I'm driving every day, I'm on this road, it's raining right now, and I'm not looking at the camera because I'm paying attention to the road. And I mean, if I'm driving every day and I'm probably gonna have an accident. If you're on the road every day, it's like if every day you go fishing, you're probably gonna catch a fish. But at the same time, there's, like, for instance, like right now, I'm staying. They say stay 2 car lengths away from the car in front of you. I put like 9 of them in front of me, because then that way that gives me more than enough time to stop if something happens. And then I always check my mirrors and make sure that they're good, and I have my mirrors situated to where I can look forward and still in my peripheral vision I can see there's a car about to pass me. I don't have to move my eyes, and I get the same thing in that mirror over there, so I know that where I'm at on the roads for it. So I'm doing things basically that are keeping me safe. So I mean, and I think that we should do that when we're working in teams also, is that we have these safeguards set up, to where we don't. And I think one of them is, like, you don't want to keep bringing emotion, because this morning, I thought when I went in there today that basically my boss was going to fire me, and I was like, to the point I didn't even bring in my tools. I was like, well, I'm not going to work today. I checked my computer. My computer said I didn't have any routes, so I'm like, I'm probably going to get fired today. And I was like, it's probably over some simple misunderstanding that I can't really get word in, because I already know I'm not going to be able to get a word in. But so I basically went there ready to get fired. So when I walked in the door, I was very humble, because I'm like, you know what, this is a war, I'm not going to win. But see, this is the one thing about leadership that people forget. I prayed, and when you bring God into the mix of it, and you put God in your life, and you put God in what you say, when you say it, how you say it, things change. And when I went in there, he basically told me toward the end, and this is what got me. He says, I'm happy you came in today, because I would have had to fire you. to me, though, after everything that he said that was negative, like that one positive thing he said made me understand why he was adamant about me calling him, because I understand. And then I like this job has put so much money into me. They put so much into me. Like, I mean, some of the stuff they've given me, of course, a vehicle, my computer, a GPS, my fish sticks, some of the stuff I had to buy. But even, I mean, if some of this stuff in here is just, man, like what's that? I have $1,000 meter back there, hanging back there, right there, but you can't see it. Like, I'm pretty sure the safety harness behind me is worth X amount of dollars. I mean, and then I get loaded up with, if I haven't said anything, I install cable in business class, so I climb poles, and then I send the cables through to the building, and from the building, I send it to whatever we're going to use it for, video, phones, or internet. So, I mean, all the equipment on my truck, the wire on my truck, they have invested a whole lot in me. And then one of the things he told me when he hired me, he says, I'm not a felon. So he's like, man, it's so hard. I found very good guys, but they're felons. But we're not allowed to have felons on the team. So, I mean, wow. So he needs me. And, I kind of feel like I need this job, but I feel like I could go do another job. But at the same time, it's nice to know that I'm needed. I'm essentially part of his team. And basically, I have a feeling he was worried about me. That I didn't call him back and let him know, like, hey, look, my foot's hurt. I'm going to be out for 2 days.